In this video, I'm going to be focusing on the Eternal set. I'm going to go over the Eternal set as a whole, just kind of the set bonuses, showcasing them in battle, how they work, and then at the end of the video, I'm going to go through just a quick analysis of each of the component pieces for the Eternal set, kind of just a quick analysis of which of these pieces of equipment are actually worth getting, what's the most common use case. I did a video recently just talking about the best current set in the game. And the Eternal 2-piece set bonus is currently in that area where you do want to be using 2 of the Eternal pieces of equipment, just because the set bonus is really strong. So as far as the set bonus as a whole, so the 2-piece set bonus, it has 2 parts to it, both which are pretty helpful. So the first part is when taking damage, you block 10% of the total damage just off the top. So this kind of works like an extra layer of damage reduction. So you have damage reduction, you have your extra damage or damage resistance, extra damage resistance, then you have this Eternal set bonus. So it just works in conjunction with those. So a 10% reduction in the amount of damage you're taking. So right off the top, it's going to take just 10% of that damage away. So it is definitely going to be pretty helpful as far as survivability goes. The second part of this is it deducts 60% of the total damage as immediate HP loss. So 60% of that damage is going to just take effect like it usually would, with that remainder of the damage being deducted over time, 25% every 0.5 seconds. So what it's going to do is it's just going to, so you're still going to get that burst of damage, but then the rest is going to bleed off. So it allows you some time to actually be able to lifesteal off of enemies and be able to re-heal without just worrying about getting one shot just by a single projectile or something. It's not as, I mean, if you're getting swarmed by enemies, it's not going to help as much, but especially in like later stages of League mode, there are some just enemies that they'll deal really big projectile damage, and this is the same with certain stages just on like normal, hard, and hell mode, where there's certain enemies that will deal projectiles, they'll throw projectiles at you at the end of the wave. This kind of helps mitigate some of that damage because you're only going to be taking 60% immediately, and you will have some time to be able to lifesteal or regenerate and just kind of mitigate the rest of that damage. Now the second part, so when your HP falls below 40%, so this is the 4-piece set bonus, you get an Eternal Barrier. The barrier can absorb damage equal to 70% of your slime's HP, and then any healing received by your slime also restores the barrier. So, and this works very similar to how the Bottle of Clarity, the epic water artifact, works for like Nepris or ARP. So you have that. Basically, it just makes your Eternal Shield, it's an extra shield you can get once your HP falls below 40%, but it doesn't, it's not like once it's damaged, it just goes away and you can't regenerate it. The way that end of that effect works is that you can actually lifesteal or regenerate back up to that 70% of your slime's HP. That Eternal Shield, you can regenerate it. In my experience, a lot of times though, just because of how much damage you're being dealt, if you manage to actually just activate that Eternal Shield by going below 40% HP, there's a pretty high likelihood that you're going to end up just getting killed pretty quick anyways. So this 4-piece set bonus, it doesn't make a huge difference. No, it does have a cooldown of 12 seconds after the shield is activated and then completely broken. So just going on to here, stage 13 real quick. Slowed it down a bit. You're going to see when we start taking damage, you'll see it a little clearer towards the end of the wave, but you're seeing this, just that 14,000 damage I'm taking, 14,800, 35 in some cases. That's the 60% of that damage. Then you'll actually see after I kill all the enemies here at the end of the wave, I'm going to have a little portion of time where I'm getting that 4,300 damage a second. That's that bleed damage in action. So that is kind of part of the thing that it helps you so you're not taking a ton of damage at once. You are bleeding some of it over time. And then real quick, you did see that little gold shield just because they got killed pretty quick. I'm going to just fast forward back to stage or this second wave so I can show you it again. It does go pretty quick, especially if you're not equipped for this wave like I am here. I'm probably, just with my setup not having runes and stuff, I will die pretty quickly. But you can see right there, it took my HP down, activated the shield, and now it's actually on a 12-second cooldown. So once I got back down below 40% HP, it didn't reactivate. So as far as each of these component pieces and which ones are important to get, so for the weapon, we have the Scepter of Eternity. The weapon's pretty solid. So you get, for the good and epic quality skills, 20 and 40% bonus attack. The rare quality skill is plus 25% bonus critical chance. So either if you're using a slime that doesn't have a lot of critical chance, or really now that you can go over 100% critical chance, and it is still helpful depending on how much critical resistance the enemies have. So if you're playing against enemies with high amount of critical resistance, even if your slime does have a good critical chance, this can still be pretty effective just because it's going to help you deal critical damage most of the time, which critical damage, because of how much critical multiplier you can end up getting, is very helpful. So this is definitely, that critical chance is really good. The dodge chance, plus 30% dodge chance, it's helpful for if you're building a dodge build. It's pretty good on late hard and hell mode stages, but it's not like a game-breaking stat or anything. It is a bit situational. For the mythic quality skill, you get plus 80% range damage. That's just obviously a pretty good just buff as far as your total damage you'll be able to output. Overall, the Scepter of Eternity is definitely one of the ones you can use if you're going for that eternal 2-piece set bonus. You can really, what I would recommend rotating between is either using the Scepter of Eternity or the Crown of Eternity. You're not really going to use them both. As I'll get to in a minute, you are going to want to use, if you're using the Eternal set, the Necklace of Eternity is definitely a must-have. Onto the armor, the Cloak of Time. So the Cloak of Time, really, unfortunately, is just not one you're going to want to use. You're getting bonus HP, plus 20% bonus dodge chances plus 25% bonus damage resistance. So you're not getting that full 30% damage resistance or dodge. You're making up for it to an extent with that plus 20% lifesteal. But really, the lifesteal, while it is a good survivability boost, there's just other ways you can get bonus lifesteal. And really, with a lot of slimes, the lifesteal you have, either just like right now I have 30%, or just whatever equipment you're running, usually you can get enough lifesteal to be fine. That extra 20% lifesteal isn't going to be super game breaking, but if you're doing a just big survivability build, it can be an option, but really it's not one you're going to want to utilize. Like the Dominator armor is going to be much better. It gives you more damage resistance and dodge if you're going for dodge. And then like the new Revenge set, the Revenge armor also gives 30% bonus damage resistance. Even the Mythic Barbarian armor, between the 10 you get at Rare and the 20 you get at Mythic, you're getting that 30% bonus damage resistance. And just the scale, I mean, that 5% really does matter a lot. It does help a lot as far as survivability goes. So really, the armor you're not really going to want to use very often. It's just not that helpful. As far as the crown, so the Crown of Eternity, this one's a pretty standard one, and like I said, it's interchangeable with the Scepter of Eternity. It just kind of depends on your preference, what runes you have, as I'll explain in a second. So for the good and epic quality skills, you're getting bonus attack. For the rare quality skill, you're actually getting 200% bonus HP, which is really nice. Just because a lot of these crown pieces, when you go through them, you'll actually notice most of them don't give you much as far as survivability goes. This one is an exception where you are getting plus 200% bonus shield HP, which the shield HP, as I'll talk about in a minute, it works really well with the Eternal set just because of the accessory. And then if you're using a water element slime like Nepris, or if you're using like Arp or Chilbert, with the way the epic water artifact works, that Bottle of Clarity, and just all the bonus shield HP you can get off of it, an additional 200% bonus shield HP so you can scale even more off of the Bottle of Clarity is definitely helpful. So this is kind of a hybrid where you are getting attack, obviously your attack speed and the multi-attack chance, but you're getting a bit of survivability here too. So it's kind of a helpful, I guess, hybrid item. And then for the legendary quality skill, 30% attack speed. Not the most attack speed you can get from a single item, but it's right on par with like the Dominator Crown, or we have the Thunder God helmet. You're getting 30% attack speed. And then for the mythic quality skill, you're getting an additional 20% multi-attack chance. Multi-attack chance is really nice. So in general, I actually do like using the Crown of Eternity over the Scepter of Eternity, but you can use the Scepter of Eternity depending on just how much multi-attack chance you have. So if you're using a slime like Chloris, who just automatically gets a little more multi-attack chance, at least I thought he did. What am I thinking of? Oh yeah, he does get some bonus multi-attack chance right here. So Chloris gets some more multi-attack chance, so you can kind of work with that. So if you like right here, if I add the Helmet of the Storm, I get 90% multi-attack chance. So if you equip some multi-attack chance runes, or you're using a temporary multi-attack chance buff in the fountain, you can get enough multi-attack chance to be pretty well off without the Eternal Crown. But if you don't have those runes or those temporary buffs, and you still just really overall on those late stages, you're going to want to make sure you're as close to 100% multi-attack chance as you can. So that's why in general, I really do like the Crown of Eternity, just so I don't have to worry as much about the multi-attack chance, especially when I'm using, like if I'm using Nepris, and Nepris by default is capped at 50% multi-attack chance. So if I had this up to Mythic, I'd be at 70. I still need to use a rune or a temporary buff. So especially if you're using like Nepris or a slime that doesn't have built-in multi-attack chance like Chloris, this is going to be the way to go, just to make sure you're being able to damage as many enemies as you can, because there are certain stages where multi-attack chance is just really crucial. Now on to probably my favorite piece of equipment within the Eternal set. This is the Necklace of Eternity, the accessory piece. So you're getting 15 and 30% HP respectively. For the rare quality skill, you're getting plus 20% dodge chance. It's actually not huge. But for the legendary quality skill, we're getting plus 25% shield damage resistance. And this is really important because it scales really well if you are using a Crown of Eternity, already getting that plus 200% shield HP. And then if you're using Nepris, if you've used those shield HP upgrades within the Tower of Elements, just because it's going to make your shield just really powerful. So if you get an upgrade within the Tower of Elements, there's one that it'll give you plus 40% shield damage resistance. So if I go and just swap my equipment out here, you can see with Nepris right here, if I go down, I'm at 40% bonus shield damage resistance. So with how your damage resistance works, your final damage you take when your shield's active, the enemy's attack, then it looks at your damage resistance, your extra shield damage resistance, or your extra damage resistance, and your shield damage resistance. So you get 3 layers of that shield damage resistance. So if I go back and just re-equip that Eternal accessory, and then you can see I'm at 65% shield damage resistance. So when you're using a slime like Nepris or Haku that's just going to have loads of shield HP, this is really crucial, and it just makes a big difference, because the further you can make that shield HP go, the better. Nepris and Shieldbert, like especially when you're using this Bottle of Clarity artifact, because your shield HP is just additionally increased if you have that artifact equipped, on top of all the just other shield HP bonuses you get. So you can get loads of shield HP. And then finally, for the mythic quality ability here, you get an additional 300% shield HP. So it scales really well with everything else you're using here. So if you're using the Eternal set, this Eternal accessory, and then the Eternal helmet, I definitely would make sure you've optimized your Tower of Elements and are using any of those shield HP related upgrades you can, just because it all scales really well, works really well together. But that's it for this video, just as far as covering the Eternal set as a whole. Thanks for watching, and let me know if you have any questions.